Currently, in the UK, less than 1 in 10 people survive a cardiac arrest.
A cardiac arrest is when a person's heart stops beating and blood can't be pumped around their body. It causes a person to fall unconscious. Without CPR, the person can die within minutes.
CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which involves compressions and rescue breaths.
If we achieve the same survival rate as countries like Norway,
Then in the UK, every single week 100 lives would be saved. That's down to the fact that CPR is widely taught in schools.
Yorkshire Ambulance Service is creating lifesavers by teaching CPR to secondary schools on Restart a Heart Day every year.
I'm Martha and I was a former student here at Skipton Girls High School. In 2015, I was taught the life-saving skill of CPR as part of Restart a Heart Day. Little did I know that on a break from university, I would have to use this life-saving skill in order to help someone.
my partner, Kathy, we decided to go to Skipton for an early coffee and a bit of shopping.
Well, it was a very early start. It was, I think, the day after Easter weekend.
Got into Skipton, I parked the car.
And then joined me at Cafe Nero's. And literally, Keith had gone and got the coffee, we sat down.
And we'd been talking for 5 minutes, and literally, next minute, I'd collapsed in the chair. And that's all I remember, really, of that day.
My instinct initially was to think, you're just messing around, what are you doing? Sort of nudged him. And then realised, of course, pretty quickly that he wasn't, because he didn't appear to be breathing. He seemed to be lifeless other than he was sitting. So I shouted out to the girls, please, I just need some help, please phone 999.
I was at work when a customer called me over. She was in a bit of distress because her partner had just collapsed in a chair. I went over with my colleague to go and assess what had happened, and once we arrived there, it was apparent that something was really wrong. We moved Keith onto the floor with the help of some customers till he was flat on his back, and at that point I decided that he didn't have a pulse and he was no longer breathing. So I thought it was time to use the life-saving skills that I've been taught during Restart a Heart Day and begin CPR at that point. I started giving chest compressions to Keith and continued to do so until paramedics arrived on scene about 5 minutes later.
It was just like being on a set at Holby City. I remember thinking to myself, this isn't real, you know. Keith's on the floor, somebody's doing CPR on him.
Paramedics arrived on scene and they took over from me doing CPR to shock Keith's heart 3 times. He was then taken to Airedale General Hospital to receive urgent care.
I don't remember much, I don't remember anything until I woke up 2 weeks after in Airedale Hospital. And Kathy told me what had happened to me and about Martha and everything that happened on that day.
I just could not believe. I just thought I'd lost Keith. I have to say, I absolutely thought I'd lost him.
It was an amazing thing that Martha had learnt this 4 or 5 years ago, and to be able then to perform it on somebody after all that time and be so good at it, it was just absolutely amazing. She was my angel in that time.
Hello, so yeah, I've come in with Yorkshire Ambulance to come and help you learn CPR today. And this skill is something that when I was learning it, I thought, oh, this won't happen to me, and it did. And I was just at work a few years on from having learnt, and Keith had a cardiac arrest in the shop that I was working in, and I then did CPR in order to save his life, and we're really lucky today that he's with us and he's fit and well now. When you come into these sessions, everything you learn is useful, and if you then go on to perform CPR, you know, you've got all the tools that you need to do it. You'll have learned all the tools and all the right ways of doing things.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am that one of the students from Restart a Heart Day learned the life-saving skill and then went on to use it to save the life of a stranger. This highlights why every year it's important for us to go into secondary schools and teach them this life-saving skill.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
it could be the most important thing you'll ever learn.
2 fingers underneath the chin, tilt the head back, pinch the nose close and 2 breaths, girls.
It could be your granddad. You know, Keith has grandchildren. My little granddaughter, she's coming up to 10. So she's not much younger now than the children that we saw today learn that technique. And if I could have half the pride that Martha's mum must have for her, and the school must have for their pupils, actually.
Restart a Heart Day is an amazing thing to learn for the children.
And I think the younger that those children are taught that technique, children are like sponges. They just absorb information.
I think teaching CPR to young people in schools is especially important, as this is something that they can then take away with them from their school careers and use in their day-to-day life with their friends, their family, or even strangers on the street who they've never met before. And they're then carrying this skill with them for the rest of their life. After learning these skills in 2015, I now know the life-saving potential that they can have, and it's something that anyone can learn given the opportunity.